Okay, so welcome. I'm going to pin my video and I will mute you. We will be starting seated today. So gather any props that you might need around you, whether those are traditional yoga props, so anything to bring the floor closer to you. Sometimes our arms don't quite reach the floor, anything to prop up your bottoms while you're seated, because sometimes it can strain the lower back with due to tight hips and things like that. And yeah, I'll meet you on the mat. Welcome to our Hatha flow on Friday here. Um, yeah, I hope you move at your own pace. I hope you use this practice as a conversation with your body, as a reconnection to your body. Just a note that I always say most of these classes are all levels because I really want you to explore within yourself. So I'll offer up poses, but I'm just the guide and you take it wherever you need to take it today. So I will meet you on the mat. And we'll take a tall seat, whatever that means to you. So either propping your hips up and sitting cross-legged or sitting on your heels. But we see if we can find a neutral pelvis from front to back, so it's neither tipping forward too much and compressing that low back, or tipping back and caving in at the front body. And we can move a little side to side, find both sit bones, move the flesh of your body out of the way so that you feel grounded. And once you've made it to that position, you can start to settle into the room, settle into the space that you have set out for yourself. We acknowledge that the land on which we're on, especially here in North America and Canada, is the unceded and traditional territories of Indigenous people. We also acknowledge that this practice of yoga is also not our own, it is borrowed. It is adapted and modified from South Asian tradition. And it really is more than just a physical practice. And I know that everyone here with me today uses yoga in that way. It is a way of connecting to all layers and levels of our body, not just the physical. So as we sit here and soak in the feels around us, so the sensation of air on the skin, the earth underneath us, the sounds around us, and the light in the room, maybe even smells or tastes. We find those fleeting moments of presence and stillness. This week, my theme has been discomfort and stress, and not just because that's where life takes us sometimes, but also all the lessons we get from it and the benefits as well, and how our yoga practice gives us clues on how we approach discomfort, where we go and where we want to go. And also how discomfort and stress, if we move through the full cycle, we also come out on the other side with some growth. It's not all unicorns and rainbows though, and we acknowledge that. So as we sit here, noticing those fleeting moments of presence, we also notice the times that we are pulled away from that presence. And I invite you to explore that in your body too. Acknowledge it as we go through practice. And set out the intention to learn more. Watch your breath. Notice what's happening. And we will also tune back to that breath time and again to find more clues about what's going on inside as we move through uncomfortable positions. Next inhale, let's sweep the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, hands come down through the center line to the heart center. 2 more of those. Using your full breath in, your full exhale. We pause for a moment, thumbs at the heart center, bowing to ourselves, setting our own intention for today's practice, as well as the intention to listen and act upon the messages of our body. Next inhalation, let's reach up. And as we exhale, left hand's going to come to the outer right thigh, right hand behind us for a twist here. We grow tall. We exhale and twist a little further. We settle into that twist, just an easy one to begin with. And we notice if the collarbones are caving in, if the shoulders have come off the back, if the head and neck feel strained. We notice what muscles we need to recruit to stay here, and also where we need to let go. Inhale all the way back to center. And we'll go to the other side, right hand to the outer left thigh, left arm behind us. We take that time to settle in, to notice the differences on this side. And then we can refine and adjust. We can get introspective. And then all the way back to center. Reach those arms up and exhale them down into cactus arms. So elbows next to shoulders, palms nice and open. We're going to use our breath again, but this time we get a little more active. We're not using our arms to help the twist this time. If the arms don't feel comfortable in cactus, you could always Touch your shoulders, bring them behind the back of the head or neck, or even just keep them at heart center. Otherwise, collarbones nice and wide. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the left and inhale back to center. And exhale right and center, and continue on your own breath. Again, noticing what muscles need to be recruited here, how it feels different from a more supported twist. Which side's easier to connect to. All without judgment. We're going to do one more on each side, full round. And back to center. Reach those arms up overhead. And this time bring the hands back behind you, maybe coming onto fingertips, leaning back, lifting that heart up to the sky. And then we'll roll forward, coming to hands and knees. Setting the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And a few cats and cows here as we inhale, opening the front body. As we exhale, opening the back body. Getting some movement in the hips, in the spine, in the shoulders. All the way up to the head and the neck. Just waking up movement, starting to feel energy flow, starting to feel those nervous impulses, everything coming back online a little bit, and linking breath to body. One more full round of breath. And we'll meet back neutral. We're going to do 5 shoulder flows now, walking the knees a little bit further behind as we exhale, coming back into a kind of half child's pose as we inhale, sweeping the nose forward to about thumb level, pressing up to hands and knees, and trying again, curling back. And then keeping the hips high as you drag the heart, the nose along the floor, press back up. 3 more. Each time you draw yourself forward, imagine the arms coming back online, the arm bones plugging into those shoulder sockets, activating the muscles required to find that grace and strength. And after that last one, coming back to neutral, we're going to come into a twisted child's pose. So walking the right hand forward a little, we're going to sweep that left arm up and through, coming onto the left shoulder, the left side of the face. And then those right fingertips can support us here, or they can come back and remind the pelvis to stay stable, or they can even reach towards that left hip crease and keep reminding it to draw back in line with the right one. This one for me always feels awkward, always a little uncomfortable, and yet I can walk that line and notice that it's a productive discomfort, something we really have to watch through our physical practices, the distinguishing between pain that is straining versus a discomfort that is giving healthy stress to our connective tissue. If it feels wrong, if breathing becomes labored, we come out And we find an in-between, so either with support or lifting up slightly or cushion under. Let's press all the way up and come to the other side, reaching the right arm up, sweeping it through, coming on the right side of the face, the right shoulder, left fingertips can support. Or they come to the back of the pelvis and remind it to stay stable and even. Or we reach back towards that right hip crease to try to bring that pelvis square into line. And then slowly they start to unwind again, pressing back up onto hands and knees. So just like we were doing with seated, we did one supported twist, and now we're going to do a more active twist. So same position, we reach that left arm up, and then we're going to reach it through to the right, but not come down to the earth. Inhale back up, 4 more of those. Exhale, reaching it through towards the right and back up. Every twist is accompanied by an exhale to really wring that out, to connect to the deep core muscles. One more. And then we come back to center and go to the other side. So that front hand will be a little bit in front of the shoulder to allow for some space. We inhale, reach up through the right arm and sweep it through to the left, reaching. It's amazing how different the sides can feel sometimes. And we note that without attaching stories or judgments to it at this point. And we've got one more. And we come back to center. We reset the hands. We curl the toes under, and we come back to our recovery pose. So maybe it's a child's, maybe it's a puppy pose, maybe a downward facing dog. Hips come up and back. Every finger, every knuckle planted into the earth. And we find length through the spine, integrity through the core, and probably a bit of a stretch at the back line of the body. Slowly we start to walk those feet forward into a forward fold, bending the knees as much as you need, supporting yourself on thighs, on blocks, on anything you need to. And then letting that head and neck go. Your legs can be as wide as needed to allow for the space of your torso to hang. As we let go to gravity for a moment. And then slowly come all the way up to standing. Finding Tadasana, mountain pose. Shoulders are on the back, feet are planted, rooted, head is reaching up. Finding balance from front to back, from right to left. And next inhalation, reach those arms up. And exhale, we fold forward. Hands to shins or thighs, press, look up, lengthen, and fold. We'll do that 2 more times. So knees can be bent. We press that heart forward on the inhalation, making sure we still have integrity through the core so we're not overarching that low back. And then you melt forward one more time. And then hands come to the earth. We're going to step that left leg back behind us. If you need something under that left knee, it's going to come to the earth. Both hands are going to come to the inside edge of that right foot. And we're just going to do a little bit of a flow here, walking the hands further forward. You might even need to be on a prop or a block. We're going to exhale and bend through the elbows and dive. Inhale, press up. So maybe with the hands on the floor, your elbows coming in towards that inner ankle. And we dive and we press back up. We do 2 more of those. Saying good morning to that right hip. And then this last one, let's hold it down there, even if it means just a sigh of the heart. Connect to that right leg, right where it meets the pelvis, that hip socket. And imagine waking up all those muscles, all the connective tissue, all the circulation in that area. Again, bringing that back in online. And then walk the hands to either side of that front foot. And if it's available, press yourself up into a low lunge here. Keep drawing that right hip back, pointing the hips forward. You can even remind that right hip to stay back with the right thumb. Find neutrality in the pelvis. Imagining 2 laser beams pointing straight forward. Draw those legs towards each other to reset. And then keeping that whole apparatus as is, you can melt forward maybe a little deeper. If you want to go further, left arm comes up to the sky, feeling that length from fingertip out through the knee. If you want to go even further still, that right hand can draw that left arm over to the right as you do a banana arc. Getting even deeper into the extension of that left hip. And then slowly release the hands down. Step back to hands and knees or plank position. So wherever you are in this plank, you could even be on elbows, can be up on toes. We're drawing everything into the midline. And just reconnecting here. Let's draw ourselves all the way down to the floor. Arms reach back behind us. Tops of the feet plug into the floor. Roll the shoulders back, palms up to the sky. And on the next inhale, we lift the chin, the heart off the earth. And release down. 4 more. Inhale up. And exhale down. Finding strength through the back body. Not just working through that low back. Feel the shoulders pull on the back. The mid-back working all the way down to the sides of the waist. And after this last one, hold it up there for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place the hands down, come into your recovery pose, child's puppy or downward facing dog. Planting through every fingertip, every knuckle, reaching those hips back and up, back and up. If you're in child's, releasing down into the earth. If you're in puppy, Same as in down dog, lots of length from sit bones to the fingertips. And then either from down dog or from hands and knees, left foot will step between the hands, right knee to the earth. Give yourself any padding you need under that right knee. Both hands come to the inside edge of the left foot and maybe on a block or a prop. We exhale and dive and inhale and press up. So even if it's just this very slight sighing down of the head and the heart, a little bit of bend in the elbow. We'll go 2 more times. And then we'll hold it down there. Take time to see what's going on in that hip. Take time to let it come back online, plug back in. And then we press ourselves back up, frame that front foot with the hands. Get yourself ready, maybe press yourself up to a low lunge. Find that left hip and draw it back in line with the right hip. Even if you have to come out of the pose a little bit, find balance side to side, left and right, up and down, and then melt that pelvis forward. If you want to come deeper, right arm comes up, and we just focus on that nice length from fingertip out through the right knee. You might go even farther and arc over to the left, drawing that right hand over in an arc. And then back up to center, release the hands down, pick up that back knee, and it might take 1 step, 2 steps, or many steps forward to a forward fold. Release the head and neck. Take a moment to connect to the introspection of the forward fold. And then bend the knees nice and deep, parallel the feet. And hands to the heart, peel the torso up off the thighs. Activate the core by drawing the front ribs down towards the pelvis. By alivening, if that's a word, the lower abdomen. It's not sucking it in. It's just bringing awareness, bringing a little bit of action. Roll the shoulders back. Get a little bit deeper in that chair. Maybe the arms come out in front of you, plugging those shoulders back. And then we watch, maybe they start to come up. But at any point, if the difficulty extends beyond discomfort into loud talking of any part of the body, lower back especially, we come down slightly, we reconnect to our core, to our integrity. Maybe we try again, or we stay in that other position. Next inhalation, press into the feet, come all the way up to standing, and let's fold again. Look up halfway, lengthen hands to shins or thighs, and then frame that front foot. Step back with the right leg, spin that right heel down, coming up into warrior 2 pose. In this warrior 2, we ground through all 4 corners of both feet. We can even come out of the pose slightly. And then bend through that front knee. as you really power up that back leg. Remember, it's online now. You can feel the muscles from the hip all the way up through that heel working. Gaze to the front. Take a moment to connect to the side bodies. With this stable foundation, can you feel tall, lifted? The front ribs are still actively drawing down towards the pelvis. The back is supporting you. And now keeping those long side bodies, start to reach out through the left fingertips. Reach, 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 reach. Maybe that left elbow comes to the left thigh. Maybe it comes down to the inner or outer edge of that foot, even onto a block. Right hand on the right hip. We open up the side body. Parshvakonasana, side angle pose. Maybe that right arm comes up. Maybe it comes over the ear. And we keep the length of both sides of the waist as much as possible. And then whenever you're ready, hands come down, we spin up on that top back leg and step back to our plank pose. We take a moment and pause. And then either from here or on the knees, come all the way down to the earth. Flip the feet over. This time, arms are going to reach out to the sides. Thumbs up. I'll come into cactus because I don't have as much room. And on the next inhale, we lift head and heart. Exhale down. Tops of the feet stay grounded. Thighs stay grounded. Pelvis stays grounded. Even the abdomen. And after this last one, we inhale and hold it up here. Thumbs pressing up to the sky, activating that back line of the body. And then hands come down, press back. Child's puppy or downward facing dog. We're going to do a little twist here in our puppy pose or our down dog. First, I'll demonstrate in puppy. So coming up slightly, we press into that right hand and take the left hand to the outer edge of the right thigh or shin or further and look up under that right armpit. If you are in down dog, you walk the feet in a little bit so that the heels can come to the earth. Same thing, ground down through the right hand. Reach to the outer edge of the thigh, shin, or ankle, and look up under that right arm, strengthening it, pressing both sit bones back equally in either of these poses. And then come back to center. And other side, pressing into that left hand. Hand comes to the outer shin, thigh, or ankle, or in puppy pose, same thing. Outer thigh or shin, and we look under that left arm. Both sit bones pressing up and back. And then we come to center. From hands and knees or from downward facing dog, right foot will step forward. We pick that left knee up off the earth. We spin that left heel to the earth and we come all the way up into our warrior two. We draw those legs in towards each other, get everything online, power up that back leg. Not only is the foot working, but the shin, the thigh, the hip, and then we bend away from that anchor point. Reaching the arms out like wings, gazing towards those right fingertips. Now we focus a little bit on the torso and the length through that upper body. We've got this stable foundation. We find the integrity of the core, front and back. We find the length of the sides. And keeping that length, we start to reach forward through that right arm. Hold for a moment. Maybe right elbow comes to the thigh, maybe down to the inside edge of that ankle or the outside edge. Top hand can stay at the hip, reaching up or reaching over the ear. Parshvakonasana. We press the right knee in, out towards the right there. And then release the hands down. Flip up onto those back toes. 1 step, 2 steps, or many steps to the front of the mat. And fold. We'll bend the knees nice and deep. Here's our Utkatasana, chair pose number 2. Hands at the heart. This time, however, we're going to take it into a twist. So bringing the feet a little closer together so that you have a narrower foundation. Roll the shoulders on the back. Get long through all sides of the body again. Hands at the heart center. And keeping both hips even, we exhale, twist left elbow to the outer edge of that left thigh or knee. We take a moment to reset, drawing that left hip back in line with the right. So the left knee and the right knee are in line. We look down at the toes, we give them a wiggle, and then we can start to press the hands towards each other as we twist around that central column of the body. Let the breath massage and wring you out. And inhale back to center. You can do whatever you need to do between sides. And then bend through the knees again. Hands at the heart center. Get long through all sides of the body. And twist to the left, right elbow to the outer edge of that right thigh or knee. Look down. Bring the knees in line. Extend through the top of the head. And press into those hands and twist around that central column. An inhalation brings you back to center. We come all the way up to Tadasana. And take a moment here, feeling what's going on in the body. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fingertips down, left leg steps back behind us. Left knee comes to the earth again. You may be predicting where we're going to go in this lunge with all this twisting we've been doing. So we're going to press ourselves up on that right thigh. Draw the legs towards each other. Lunge them forward. You might stay right here. You might reach that left arm up. You might start to reach it forward As you start to twist the body, this might be where you stay. Use that right hand to guide that right hip back and keep both sides of the body long. Maybe that left elbow comes to rest on the outer edge of that right leg. And you pause again. Maybe hands come to the heart together. And you pause. Maybe we start to press the hands towards each other as we twist. You can look down at that front foot for balance. You can look at the side. You can look up to the sky. If it calls to you, you could start to bring that back knee up off the ground. You could even start to reach those arms out wide, as long as it doesn't feel like you're sacrificing some of the integrity of the pose for that. So shoulders don't have to hunch forward. We're not closing off our heart center. We're not holding our breath. And then slowly release that. Step back to hands and knees. Knees apart, toes together, child's pose. Allow the head to rest, the hips to sink. And then we'll come back up, and from down dog or from hands and knees, we'll step that left leg forward. Right knee to the earth. Take a moment to set up that stance. Press yourself up. This might be where you stay. Remind that left hip back with the left hand. Lunge forward as much as possible. Maybe the right arm comes up. Maybe it starts to reach forward as you're twisting. Maybe right elbow comes to the outer left thigh or knee. Maybe the hands come together. Maybe you start to press into the hands and twist further, especially with every exhale. Maybe you're looking down at the floor for balance, at the side, or maybe up to the sky. You might even curl those back toes under and lift that back knee up off the floor. You might even open the arms like wings, maintaining the length of both sides of the body, maintaining the openness of the heart center. And then an inhalation will bring you back to center. We'll step forward and do a nice deep forward fold here, either hugging the legs behind you or taking the big toes with the fingers, or sliding the entire palm under the sole of the foot. Wherever you are, the inhalation presses the feet into the earth, lifts the sit bones, and the exhalation draws you deeper in. You find your deep forward fold, whatever makes you feel nourished, internally massaged, held. And then slowly we'll roll up to standing and prepare to come to the ground for good, or at least for the end of the practice. We'll reach those arms up, bend the knees as you melt forward. Look up halfway and lengthen, and then we're going to step that right leg back behind us, right knee to the earth. Left foot's going to walk across the mat as we let that left knee down close to that left wrist. So for pigeon pose. So at first, you're in this fairly high pose, we start to walk that right leg back as far as it'll go. You can always add a prop underneath that left hip for support. Come up onto the fingertips. Again, to get that length through the upper body. Draw that left hip back and you'll feel even more length through that left side. And then release the back toes and start to walk yourself forward. You might have a prop to lean on. You might come down onto the elbows. You might start to walk the elbows out, bringing the head to the fists, the hands, or all the way to the floor. And take this time to let go. If it feels not like letting go at all, always some support, whether it's a pillow or a cushion, toilet paper roll, block, placed under that left hip to give you that sense of there's something there for it to land on. We're not just letting it go. Send the breath to the tangles of connective tissue around the hip. Sometimes that's what it feels like, but we trust that we're awakening the area, softening the places that need to be softened, bringing blood flow, bringing length. Now I invite you, you can always stay here where you are, or you can possibly take this into a bit of a twist as well. Either coming up onto the hands, walking the hands over to the left and bowing. Or if you'd like to go even deeper, right elbow can bend and come to the earth, or even the outside edge of that left leg, hands to prayer with a twist. All of this depends on your body, and we meet the body where it's at. And then back to center. We extract ourselves from that side however we need to. We do whatever needs to happen between sides. And then that right leg will step forward. That right foot will cross the mat as we lay the right knee down close to that right wrist. We walk the left leg back as far as it'll go. Set up any props that we might need under the right hip to even out those hips. We get long and tall through the side bodies and the torso. We release those back toes. And then we start to melt forward. In this pose, in this discomfort, where do we go? What would be our automatic reaction? And what has our practice taught us? Sometimes the discomfort is calling for action, calling for you to move some body parts out of the way, calling for you to reset, find something that's more aligned with what you need. Sometimes the discomfort is telling you to look, to breathe, to stay with it. Our practice really starts to help us distinguish between the different kinds of discomfort and our reactions. To figure out when we're just pushing through and when maybe it's time to act. And step back. Retreat. If you'd like to, you can start to come into that twist on this side, either coming up on the hands and walking them to the right, laying the body more diagonally over that right leg, or taking that left elbow, bringing it to the floor or the outer right thigh, pressing the hands together and twisting here in a twisted pigeon. And then slowly unwinding, making your way out of that deep, deep pose. And doing whatever you need to do. Maybe it's a child's pose, maybe a downward dog, maybe you need some movement through the body. And then we'll slowly start to make our ways down to our backs. Once you're on your back, we reset and recalibrate. Feet are mat distance apart. Knees are falling in towards each other for support. The back of the pelvis, we're working on letting it go into the earth. The heads of the arm bones, working on letting them fall back with gravity. As we recalibrate here. We'll walk the feet in towards each other. Ground down through all four corners of both feet, walking them in a little bit towards the sit bones. We'll take the arms into robot arms, so upper arms are grounded, elbows bent to 90, fingertips up to the sky. Pressing through the back of the head, through the back of the upper arms, and through the feet, we lift the hips up into a Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Every exhale helps to press a little more into the earth. Every inhale, we expand and lengthen through that front body. The arms might come to the earth, palms down, or interlace the fingers under the pelvis as you roll deeper onto the backs of the shoulders. And then slowly release those hips down. We'll take the knees into the hands, keep the arms outstretched so that you can rock and roll side to side in the back of the sacrum. Come to center here, and you can just hang here, suspended. Maybe the legs come up to the sky, the arms come up to the sky. We let the legs fall back into the hip sockets, the arms fall back into the shoulder sockets, releasing through toes and fingers, giving them a wiggle, livening them up. Taking a moment maybe to hang there. And then slowly start to soften everything down. If there's anything else that needs to move through your body before Shavasana, final relaxation, go for it. Listen to your body. Maybe it's a movement. Maybe it's another static pose, a happy baby, a twist. Might be a long stretch. But listen, act, and gradually make your way into final relaxation. Whatever position speaks to you, bring in any props. You might melt your legs over the side of a bed or a couch or up a wall. You might come to your side. You might be seated. Stay here. Watching, noticing what's going on in the body. What's going on around you. What has changed, what hasn't changed. And where is your breath? Please feel free to stay here for as long as you want, as long as you can. Combination of the two. As you connect to the quiet, those moments of presence. Sometimes just as fleeting as moments of comfort. And when you move away from your mat, you take some of the lessons, your strength, your ability to distinguish discomfort from pain on every level. Your ability to breathe through and grow. Make sure you thank yourself for your practice today. And I thank you for sharing with me. Om Shanti Shanti Peace.